I stopped getting compliments on my pixie cut, and for 2 years I couldn't figure out why. Turns out, the cut itself was never the problem. Today I'm walking you through the 7 pixie cut mistakes women over 60 are making right now, without realizing it, and exactly what to say to your stylist to fix each one. I researched the worst style and beauty mistakes and the best fixes for women over 60, so you get real results, fast. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. I cover this every week. Part 1. The cut that's quietly aging you. Here's something almost nobody tells women over 60 about pixie cuts. The exact same length that looked sharp and modern at 45 can read as severe, even harsh, once your face has softened with age. Nobody explains this. Stylists keep cutting the same silhouette a woman asked for a decade ago, and she keeps wondering why the cut that used to feel like her signature now feels like it's working against her. The mistake is length that's uniformly short everywhere, cropped tight at the crown with no variation, no movement, nothing left to soften the face. When your skin loses some of its natural firmness, a cut with zero softness anywhere just amplifies that. It's not that short hair ages you. It's that flat, uniform short hair ages you. I felt this myself. I kept the same pixie length for years because it was easy, because I trusted it, because it had worked before. Then a friend gently mentioned my face looked tired in photos, and it wasn't my face. It was the cut sitting too flat against it. The fix is asking your stylist for internal layering through the crown, paired with longer, textured pieces left at the front and sides. Say this exact phrase at your next appointment. Point cut the top layer so there's movement, but keep the length varied instead of one uniform crop. That single instruction changes everything. The crown gets soft, feathered texture instead of a flat cap of hair. The front pieces get length that can be styled forward, angled, softened around the face. What this actually changes is how light moves across your head. A flat crop reflects light in one uniform sheet, which reads as stiff. Layered texture breaks that light up, catches it in different directions, and that visual movement is what reads as youthful, alive, current. It's a lighting trick more than a length trick. And once you understand that, you'll never go back to flat. There's a specific moment women describe after this fix. They sit down for a normal Tuesday, no special occasion, and someone at the grocery store or the office comments on their hair completely unprompted. Not, "You got a haircut." Something more specific like, "Your hair looks really good today." That's the crown layering fix working. It's not applause for a haircut. It's a stranger's brain registering movement and life in a way flat hair simply cannot produce. Length variation also does something for face shape that flat cropping cannot. Softer, longer pieces around the temples and jaw create the illusion of a slightly narrower, more lifted face. It's the same principle a longer bob uses to flatter a face shape, just condensed into pixie form. You get the low-maintenance ease of short hair with the face softening benefit typically reserved for longer cuts. The before and after here is specific and visible. Before, a uniformly short, flat crop with no length variation anywhere on the head. After, a pixie with soft internal layering at the crown and longer, textured pieces framing the front and sides, catching light and movement with every turn of the head. Now here's where it gets more complicated, because length isn't the only thing quietly working against a pixie cut over 60. There's a second cut-related mistake sitting right alongside this one, and it's about where the shortest point of the whole cut actually sits on your head, something almost every woman gets wrong without ever being told. The nape, the spot at the very back of the neck where the pixie tapers down, is doing more work than anyone realizes. If it's cut too abruptly, too squared off, it drags the whole cut backward into something stiff and dated, no matter how soft the crown looks. The fix is a soft, rounded taper at the nape instead of a hard, blunt line. Tell your stylist, taper the nape gradually, don't leave a blunt line at the bottom. This one adjustment softens the entire back profile of the cut, which matters enormously because the back of a pixie is visible constantly. In photos, in mirrors behind you, in every candid shot someone takes without you noticing. Once that taper softens, the whole cut stops looking like it was assembled in sections and starts looking like one cohesive shape. That's the difference between a pixie that looks intentional and one that looks accidental. Between the crown layering and the nape taper, You've now fixed two mistakes that were compounding each other without you ever realizing they were connected. But there's a third mistake waiting in the next part, and this one has nothing to do with the cut itself. It's about the one color choice almost every woman over 60 with a pixie gets backwards. Part 2. The color mistake and the product mistake that flatten your cut. Most women think going lighter with their hair color automatically looks softer and more youthful. That's actually backwards for a pixie cut specifically, and almost nobody explains why the logic that works for long hair doesn't transfer here. With long hair, lighter color diffuses across a lot of surface area, so it reads as soft no matter what. A pixie has almost no surface area to work with. When you go flat, uniform, all over light color on short hair, there's nowhere for that lightness to breathe. It sits on the scalp in one solid block and can actually wash out your complexion instead of brightening it, especially once skin tone shifts slightly warmer or cooler with age. I've seen this play out over and over. A woman goes lighter expecting to look fresher, and instead she looks like her hair and her skin are competing instead of working together. The fix is asking for dimensional color instead of flat, uniform tone. Say exactly this. Add two-tone dimension with low lights woven through. Don't take me all one level of light. This creates depth even in an inch of hair. Instead of one flat sheet of color, you get subtle shadow and highlight moving through the cut, which does for color what layering does for cut shape. It creates the illusion of movement and depth on a canvas that's genuinely tiny. The snapback result here is specific. Dimensional color on a pixie makes the whole head look like it has more hair than it actually does, purely through the visual trick of shadow and light working together instead of one flat tone sitting still. Women who make this switch often say their hair looks thicker after a color appointment, even though not a single strand was added. That's the illusion working exactly as intended. Now here's the second mistake hiding in this same part. And it has nothing to do with the salon chair at all. It happens at home every single morning with product. Women with pixie cuts over 60 tend to reach for the same heavy styling cream or gel they used on longer hair for decades out of habit. On short hair, that heavy product weighs down the very texture and lift you just paid for. You walk out of the salon with movement and volume, and by day 3 of styling it yourself, it's flat again, and you assume the cut just didn't last. The cut isn't the problem. The product is crushing it. The fix is switching to a lightweight texturizing spray or a small amount of matte paste applied only at the roots and crown, never dragged through the ends where it adds weight instead of texture. Ask your stylist to recommend a specific lightweight product line for your exact hair texture, and have them show you hands-on exactly how much to use, because most women use 3 to 4 times more than they need. Once the product changes, the crown lift that the cut was designed to have finally survives past the first morning. Women describe this as their cut suddenly holding all week, instead of needing a salon blowout to look right. That's not a new cut. That's the same cut finally being supported by product built for its texture instead of fighting against it. The before and after here is the clearest one so far. Before. Heavy cream weighing the crown flat by midday, texture completely lost. After, light texturizing spray at the roots, crown lift intact hours later, movement still visible at the end of a full day. 2 mistakes down in this part, 5 to go across the rest of the video, and the next one might be the most overlooked of all 7. It has to do with how often you're actually sitting back down in that salon chair, and most women over 60 are getting the timing completely wrong. Part 3. The maintenance timing mistake. Here's a number that surprises almost everyone. A pixie cut starts visibly losing its shape at roughly 3 weeks, not 6. Most women over 60 book appointments every 6 to 8 weeks out of long-standing habit from when they had longer hair, and by the time they sit back in that chair, the cut has been quietly drifting out of shape for a month. Long hair hides growth. An inch of new growth on shoulder-length hair is invisible. An inch of new growth on a pixie changes the entire silhouette, softens the taper at the nape, buries the crown lift under new length that hasn't been shaped yet. You're not imagining that your cut doesn't look the same by week 5. It genuinely isn't the same shape anymore. I hear this constantly. A woman tells me her pixie just doesn't hold up the way it did right after the appointment, and when I ask how often she's getting it trimmed, It's almost always past the 6-week mark. The fix is rebooking every 3 to 4 weeks specifically for a shape maintenance trim. Not a full restyle, just enough to keep the taper clean and the crown layers sharp. Say this to your stylist when you book. I want a quick shape trim every 3 to 4 weeks to maintain this. Not a full cut each time. Many salons offer a shorter, less expensive maintenance appointment for exactly this purpose, and most women over 60 don't even know to ask for it. This is where the real result shows up. A Pixie maintained on a 3 to 4 week cycle looks camera ready on a random Wednesday, not just on the day you leave the salon. The gap between fresh cut day and every other day disappears almost completely, because the shape never has enough time to drift. There's also a financial piece to this that stylists rarely bring up unprompted. A quick maintenance trim every 3 to 4 weeks often costs less per visit than a full styling appointment every 6 to 8 weeks, because you're not paying for a full restyle each time, just upkeep on a shape that's already correct. Over a year, many women find they're spending roughly the same amount, just distributed across more frequent, shorter visits that keep the cut looking sharp the entire time instead of only for the first 2 weeks after each appointment. The snapback moment women describe after switching to this schedule is almost always the same. They stop dreading the week before their haircut. That stretch where the cut used to look tired and grown out and embarrassing. On a 3 to 4 week cycle, that dreaded week simply doesn't exist anymore, because the cut never gets far enough off course to need rescuing. The before and after on this one isn't about a single haircut. It's about the whole month. Before, a cut that looks incredible for exactly 1 week after the appointment, then visibly softens and loses shape for the remaining 5 weeks until the next visit. After, a cut that looks camera ready in week 1 and week 3 and week 4, because the maintenance rhythm never lets it drift. Timing fixed, product fixed, cut shape fixed. But there's a mistake I haven't mentioned yet that has nothing to do with the salon at all, and it involves something most women reach for every single morning without giving it a second thought. Part 4. The styling tool mistake and the fringe mistake. Almost every woman over 60 with a Pixie cut reaches for the same round brush and hot air combination she used on longer hair for 30 years, and it's quietly working against the exact texture a Pixie is supposed to have. A round brush pulls hair smooth and straight as it dries. That's exactly what you want on long hair. On a Pixie, smoothing the hair flat erases the very texture and separation that makes a short cut look intentional instead of flat and helmet-like. Women spend real money on a beautifully textured cut, then accidentally iron all that texture out every morning with the wrong drying method, and wonder why their hair never looks quite like it did walking out of the salon. The fix is drying with fingers instead of a brush, using a diffuser attachment or simply scrunching upward toward the crown while the hair is still slightly damp. Ask your stylist to show you this exact technique before you leave the appointment. Show me how to finger dry this so I keep the texture instead of smoothing it out at home. Most stylists are happy to spend 2 extra minutes on this, and it changes everything about how the cut looks on day 2-3, and for not just fresh from the chair. The result here is immediate and visible the very next morning. Hair that's finger dried upward toward the crown keeps the separation and lift the cut was designed with. It stops looking pressed flat and starts looking the way it looked the day you paid for it every single day, not just appointment day. Now the second mistake in this part sits right at the front of the face, and it's one of the most common regrets I hear about from women who've had a Pixie for years. It's the fringe, or more specifically, a fringe that was never updated as the face changed. A fringe cut straight across, blunt, heavy, sitting right at the brow line was popular for Pixies decades ago. On a softer, more mature face, that same blunt line can look harsh, like a shelf sitting above the eyes instead of framing them. Nobody tells women this happens gradually. The fringe didn't change. The face around it did, and the same cut that used to look sharp now looks stark. I think about a woman who told me she'd kept the exact same blunt fringe for 11 years because it was just how she did her hair. When she finally softened it, she said it felt like her whole face relaxed, not just her hairstyle. The fix is a soft side-swept piece-Y fringe instead of a blunt straight across one. Tell your stylist exactly this. Point cut the fringe so it's soft and side-swept, not one blunt straight line across my brow. This single change lifts the whole upper face. Instead of a hard shelf sitting above the eyes, you get soft pieces that fall naturally to one side, opening up the eye area instead of boxing it in. The snapback result women notice almost immediately is that their eyes look more open and awake in photos, without makeup changing at all. That's entirely the fringe softening doing the work, letting light reach the eye area instead of a blunt line casting a shadow across it. The before and after here is one of the most dramatic in the entire video, because it happens right at the focal point of the face. Before, a blunt heavy fringe sitting flat across the brow, casting a shadow over the eyes. After, a soft side-swept, piecewise fringe that opens the whole eye area and softens the entire upper face. 6 mistakes covered now, drying technique and fringe shape both fixed. There's one mistake left, and it's the one hiding in plain sight in almost every photo you've taken of yourself in the last year. Something about how you're actually positioning your head and your hair together for the camera versus for real life. Part 5. The one-dimensional styling mistake. Here's the last mistake, and it's the one that ties every other fix in this video together, or quietly undoes all of them. Most women over 60 with a pixie style it exactly the same way every single day, same direction, same amount of lift, same part, day after day for years. That sounds harmless. It's actually what makes even a beautifully cut, well-colored, properly maintained pixie start to look tired and predictable over time. Hair, even short hair, is meant to move and shift slightly day to day. A pixie styled identically every morning starts to look less like a hairstyle and more like a fixed shape sitting on top of the head, disconnected from the woman underneath it. It's subtle, but it's the difference between hair that looks alive and hair that looks static. I noticed this in myself before anyone pointed it out. I'd part my pixie the same way every single morning without thinking about it, and looking back at photos from an entire year, my hair looked identical in every single one. Not consistent in a good way. Frozen. The fix is asking your stylist to cut the pixie with what's called multi-directional versatility, meaning the layers are cut to be pushed in more than one direction, not locked into a single part or a single lift pattern. Say this exact phrase. Cut this so I can wear it swept to the side some days and pushed straight back on others, not locked into one direction. A well-cut pixie with this kind of flexibility can look like 2 or 3 genuinely different styles depending on how you dry and direct it, all from the same haircut, without ever needing scissors again until your next maintenance trim. The result of this fix is that your hair stops looking like a fixed accessory and starts looking like it belongs to you, moving and shifting the way real hair does. Women who make this switch often say people stop noticing the haircut and start noticing her, which is exactly the shift you want. The cut disappears into the person instead of announcing itself as a style choice. This is also the fix that makes every previous correction in this video actually visible day to day. The crown layering from part 1, the dimensional color from part 2, the maintenance timing from part 3, the finger drying and softened fringe from part 4. All of it is designed to be seen in motion, not frozen into one static shape. A pixie cut with multi-directional versatility is what finally lets all those individual fixes work together instead of sitting flat and unused under a rigid daily routine. There's a specific moment worth mentioning here. A woman who'd made every other fix in this video but kept styling the same static way for months told me she felt like something was still missing, even though technically everything had been corrected. The moment she started varying her part and direction day to day, she said it finally felt finished, like the last piece clicked into place. The before and after here is about range, not a single fixed state. Before. The same static part and lift pattern every day. Hair that looks identical in every photo across an entire year. After. A versatile cut that shifts from swept to the side on one day to pushed back and voluminous on another. The same haircut reading as entirely different looks depending on how she directs it that morning. That's all 7 mistakes, and every single fix works together: the cut, the color, the timing, the drying technique, the fringe, and the versatility, all building on each other. None of them require starting over. They just require the right words at your next appointment. You now know all 7 pixie cut mistakes almost nobody talks about: the flat crown, the wrong nape taper, the flat color, the heavy product, the maintenance timing, the smoothing brush, the blunt fringe, and the static styling, and exactly what to say to your stylist to fix every one of them. That's not a haircut anymore. That's a plan. Which one of these 7 were you doing without even realizing it? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. Next week I'm covering the haircut lengths that are quietly aging women over 60 without them ever suspecting the length itself is the problem. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I'll see you in the next one.